All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Indian banks and currency should be made an important part of international trade and supply chain. Inaugurates iconic week celebrations of Ministries of Finance and Corporate Affairs. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to launch Single Nodal Agency Dashboard today. President Ramnath Kovind to host two-day Visitors Conference 2022 in New Delhi from today. India successfully carries out training launch of Intermediate Range Agni-4 ballistic missile. 3 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists, including 2 from Pakistan, eliminated in Jammu and Kashmir. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson wins confidence vote initiated by fellow Conservative Party lawmakers over Partygate scandal. IMD issues orange alert for severe heat wave across northern India till tomorrow. In wrestling, India ends their campaign at Bolat Turlikhanov Cup in Kazakhstan on second position with 12 medals, and Indonesia Masters Badminton Tournament begins in Jakarta today. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Jan Utsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. Recalling our yesterday's question, Bhavani Pathak, Devi Chaudhrani and Mazloom Shah are associated with which rebellion against the British? The correct answer is the Fakir and Sannyasi rebellions. The Sannyasi uprisings took place in Bengal between the period of 1770 and 1820s. The Sannyasis rose in rebellion after the Great Famine of 1770 in Bengal, which caused acute chaos and misery. AIR News got an overwhelming response from its listeners across the world, and the one lucky winner of the quiz is Mr. Manash Kumar Pural from Rupa in West Kameng district, Arunachal Pradesh.
It was really great to find my name as a winner of the 85th Amrit Mahotsav quiz. This program had given us ample opportunity to know about many unknown heroes of our freedom struggle. Hats off to AIR for such an informative program, and would sincerely hope that it would be continued beyond 16th August 2023. I have been with the AIR News right from my school days. Thanking you. Jai Hind.
And coming to our today's question, which is the 86th of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz in English, which movement is referred to as Ul-Gulan or the Great Tumult in the Indian history? I repeat, which movement is referred to as Ul-Gulan or the Great Tumult in the Indian history? Listeners can send their responses to the question over WhatsApp on 882-654-6262. I repeat, 882-654-6262 or through email on amritmahotsav@prasarbharati.gov.in. One lucky participant will be selected as the winner and will be announced in tomorrow's morning news. Winner will be awarded a certificate and a token prize. And now, the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has stressed the need to focus on making Indian banks and currency a wider part of international trade and supply chain. Inaugurating the iconic week celebrations of the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Corporate Affairs in New Delhi yesterday, Mr. Modi said efforts should be made so that the financial solutions prepared for India give solutions to the citizens of other countries of the world. He exuded confidence that there will be better financial and corporate governance during the Amrit Kal of independence. The Prime Minister said that people-centric governance and continuous effort towards good governance are the hallmarks of last 8 years of his government. Mr. Modi said India has taken new steps every day and tried to do new work in the last 8 years. He added the government has sped up the development of the nation and empowered the poor. Mr. Modi said Swachh Bharat Abhiyan gave an opportunity to the poor to live a life of dignity.
देश में जो जनभागीदारी बढ़ी, उन्होंने देश के विकास को गति दी है, देश के गरीब से गरीब नागरिक को सशक्त किया है। स्वच्छ भारत अभियान ने गरीब को सम्मान से जीने का अवसर दिया। पक्के घर, बिजली, गैस, पानी, मुफ्त इलाज जैसी सुविधाओं ने हमारे गरीब की गरिमा बढ़ाई।
He said the scheme of free rations during the corona period freed more than 80 crore countrymen from the fear of hunger. The Prime Minister also launched the National Portal for Credit-Linked Government Schemes, Jan Samarth Portal.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will launch Single Nodal Agency Dashboard today during the iconic week celebrations of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav of Ministry of Finance in New Delhi today. The Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Corporate Affairs iconic week celebrations were launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi yesterday. The Single Nodal Agency Dashboard forms part of a major public financial management reform that was initiated in 2021 with regard to the manner in which funds for centrally sponsored schemes are released, disbursed and monitored. This revised procedure, now referred to as the SNA model, requires each state to identify and designate a single nodal agency for every scheme. All funds for that state in a particular scheme will be credited into this bank account, and all expenses will be made by all other implementing agencies involved from this account. The Union Minister for Corporate Affairs, Nirmala Sitharaman, will flag off the Iconic Day celebrations of her ministry during Iconic Week of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav AKAM in New Delhi today. The Iconic Day will be celebrated at the Plenary Hall in Vigyan Bhavan. The event will be an amalgamation of various industry experts, consumer and investor voices, regulatory experts, professionals, corporate citizens, investors and other stakeholders. During the inaugural session, Ms. Sitharaman will launch National CSR Exchange Portal, which will enable stakeholders to list, search, interact, engage and manage their corporate social responsibility projects on a voluntary basis.
President Ramnath Kovind will host the Visitors Conference 2022 at Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi today. President Kovind will present the Visitors Awards 2020 in the categories of research and technological development. The two-day conference will witness presentations and deliberations on various topics such as international rankings of higher education institutions, collaboration between academia, industry and policymakers, education and research in emerging and disruptive technologies. The President is the visitor of 161 central institutes of higher education. Apart from the heads of these institutions, Education and Skill Development Minister Dharmendra Pradhan will also be attending the conference. Indian Railways has increased the limit of online booking of tickets through IRCTC website and app. The Railways Ministry said it has decided to increase the limit of booking maximum 6 tickets in a month to 12 tickets by a user ID, which is not Aadhaar linked. The Ministry has also increased the limit of booking maximum 12 tickets in a month to 24 tickets by a user ID, which is Aadhaar linked. Our correspondent reports that at present, maximum 6 tickets in a month can be booked online on IRCTC website by a user ID which is not Aadhaar linked, and maximum 12 tickets in a month by a user ID which is Aadhaar linked.
India successfully tested the intermediate-range ballistic missile Agni-4 yesterday. The successful training launch of Agni-4 was carried out from the APJ Abdul Kalam Island in Odisha. The Defence Ministry said the test was part of routine user training launches carried out under the aegis of the Strategic Forces Command. The launch validated all operational parameters as also the reliability of the system. The ministry said the successful test reaffirms the country's policy of having a credible minimum deterrence capability.
जन जन ने निर्णय लेकर भारत की सूरत बदली है, कदम कदम पे जनता मोदी जी के साथ चली है। 8 साल में हमने संभव को संभव कर डाला है, जब युगे सूरज का देखो पश्चिम में भी उजाला है। रात गई अब दिन आएगा भी तो ये बस भोर है, ये भारत का नया दौर है, ये भारत का नया दौर है.
The government has made unprecedented investments in infrastructure in the past 8 years to take India to new heights. As soon as Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to power in 2014, he emphasized on strengthening infrastructure. The Modi government paid special attention to the northeastern states and the remote areas of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh to ensure that the benefits of development reach every nook and corner of the country. A vast network of roads, rail and bridges is being built in these areas. Once the Zojila tunnel, which is being built between Srinagar Valley and Leh, is ready, it will provide all-weather connectivity and bring about an all-round economic and socio-cultural integration of Jammu and Kashmir. Our correspondent reports that 121 tunnels with lengths of more than 146 kilometers cumulative are under construction in the northeastern states so that people do not remain untouched by development.
Infrastructure development and upgradation will play a major role in making India a $5 trillion economy by 2025. National infrastructure projects were envisaged to strengthen the country's infrastructure and increase production capacity as well as attract investors. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said that the national infrastructure pipeline will give a new direction and new momentum to the country.
देश की अर्थव्यवस्था को कोरोना के प्रभाव से जल्दी बाहर निकालना हमारी प्राथमिकता है. इसमें अहम भूमिका रहेगी नेशनल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पाइपलाइन प्रोजेक्ट. इस पर 110 लाख करोड़ उससे भी ज्यादा खर्च किए जाएंगे. इसके लिए अलग अलग सेक्टर्स में लगभग 7,000 प्रोजेक्ट की पहचान कर ली गई है. इससे देश के ओवरऑल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट को एक नई दिशा भी मिलेगी, एक नई गति भी मिलेगी.
The central government has not only paid attention to the development-related infrastructure, but has also given a lot of emphasis on digital infrastructure. A digital payment platform, UPI, which was launched in 2016, has made people's lives easier. A beneficiary who used UPI said that now they find it very easy to do small to large transactions.
मैं अमित कुमार और मेरा छोटा सा स्टेशनरी का काम है जिसमें मैं काफी टाइम से काम कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन पिछले कुछ टाइम से जैसे मैं यूपीआई का इस्तेमाल कर रहा हूँ की वजह से मुझे काफी सारी सुविधाएं हो रही हैं. मैं उनसे यूपीआई के थ्रू पैसा ले लेता हूँ जो मेरे सीधा अकाउंट में चला जाता है, और इनकेस अगर मुझे किसी को देना होता है तो मैं भी यूपीआई से उनको ट्रांसफर कर देता हूँ, जिसकी वजह से मुझे काफी सुविधा हुई और बैंक में जाना और लाइन लगाना, इन सब चीजों से मुझे काफी फायदा हुआ.
Strong infrastructure in the country will not only make the wheel of economic development spin faster, but will also pave the way for India to become Vishwaguru. With Dipendra Kumar, Suparna Saikya, AIR News, Delhi.
Hill people of Mizoram are witnessing an unprecedented momentum in the pace of building road connectivity. Many roadways construction are underway with speed and pace by Public Works Department, National Highway Infrastructure Development Corporation and Border Roads Task Force. Last year, 14 rural habitations were connected by new roads of 210-kilometer length constructed under the Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana. Chief Engineer of National Highways of PWD, Mizoram, C. Lalchuana said the highway will benefit people of both states in terms of business, trade and other essential services.
Several ongoing construction and completed projects will boost the economy of the society. A massive road infrastructure development in the state would yield multiplier effect on development. It has shown the immediate positive effect that road construction have on employment, especially in rural areas and state manufacturing growth. With the presence of national highway, it can now save time and oil consumption is reduced significantly. Vehicle motors are cheaper. Now road development changes the lifestyle of the people and it helps their economy, education.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Indian banks and currency should be made an important part of international trade and supply chain. Inaugurates iconic week celebrations of Ministries of Finance and Corporate Affairs. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to launch single nodal agency dashboard today. President Ramnath Kovind to host 2 days Visitors Conference 2022 in New Delhi from today. India successfully carries out training launch of intermediate-range Agni-4 ballistic missile. 3 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists, including 2 from Pakistan, eliminated in Jammu and Kashmir. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson wins confidence vote initiated by fellow Conservative Party lawmakers over Partygate scandal. IND issues orange alert for severe heat wave across northern India till tomorrow. In wrestling, India ends their campaign at Bulat Turlikhanov Cup in Kazakhstan on second position with 12 medals, and Indonesia Masters Badminton Tournament begins in Jakarta today. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी, तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर, या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर, और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। इस बार का विषय है इकोनॉमिक्स, और सवाल भेजने की अंतिम तारीख है 8 जून। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Welcome back to the morning news on All India Radio. In Jammu and Kashmir, 3 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists, including 2 Pakistani, were eliminated by security forces in separate encounters in North Kashmir in less than 12 hours. Giving details, the police said 2 LET terrorists, including 1 from Pakistan, were killed in an encounter that broke out early this morning at Chaktaras Kandi area of Kupwara district. Earlier, another Pakistani terrorist of Lashkar-e-Taiba was neutralized by security forces in Baramulla district. The gunfight broke out last evening in Panipora forest of Zalura area in Sopore after a joint team of security forces launched a cordon and search operation following the intelligence input about the presence of terrorists in the area. The police said, as per the documents recovered at the encounter site, the slain terrorist has been identified as Hanzala of Lahore in Pakistan. 1 AK rifle, 5 magazines along with ammunition were also recovered from his possession. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu addressed the members of the Indian diaspora during a community reception at Doha in Qatar yesterday. Mr. Naidu reached Qatar on the 4th of this month on the final leg of his 3-nation tour after concluding his visit to Gabon and Senegal. The Speaker of Qatar Shura Council, Hassan bin Abdullah Al Ghanim, called on the Vice President yesterday. During the interaction, Mr. Naidu called for deepening engagement between the Indian and Qatari legislatures and promoting parliamentary exchanges between the two countries. Vice President Naidu also addressed the members of the business community at India-Qatar Business Forum.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson survived a confidence vote yesterday, but a large rebellion in his Conservative Party over the so-called Partygate scandal dealt a blow to his authority and leaves him with a struggle to win back support. In all, 211 Tory MPs voted they had confidence in Prime Minister Johnson's leadership, while 148 voted against him. The British Prime Minister won 59% of the vote, meaning he is now immune from a Conservative leadership challenge for the year. And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
On 7 June 1893 in South Africa, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, then a young barrister, was on his way from Durban to Pretoria on behalf of his client named Dada Abdullah. When the train came to a stop in Pietermaritzburg, Gandhiji was ordered by the conductor to move from the first-class carriage where he was sitting to the van compartment for lower-class travellers. When Gandhiji refused, showing the conductor his first-class ticket, he was evicted unceremoniously from the train.
Just what are you doing in this car, Puri?
I have a ticket. A first-class ticket.
How did you get out of it?
I sent for it in the post. I'm an attorney and I didn't have time.
There are no coloured attorneys in South Africa. Go and sit where you belong. I'll take your luggage back, sir.
No. Just a moment, please. You see? Mohandas K. Gandhi, attorney at law. I'm on my way to Pretoria to conduct a case for an Indian trading firm.
Didn't you hear me? There are no coloured attorneys in South Africa.
Sir, I was called to the bar in London and enrolled at the High Court of Chancery. I am, therefore, an attorney. And since I am, in your eyes, coloured, I think we can deduce that there is at least one coloured attorney in South Africa.
Smart bloody Kappa.
Throw him. Just move your black arse back to third class, or I'll have you thrown over the next station.
But I always go first class. I've travelled all...
A plaque on the platform marks the approximate spot where he was pushed from the train carriage with his luggage. This incident changed the course of his life, it reads. Talking exclusively to All India Radio News, Director, National Gandhi Museum, A. Annamalai, discussed the impact of the incident on Gandhiji's life.
When thrown off from the train, his image was scattered. He was in a big dilemma, whether we have to continue in South Africa or we can go back to India. Then he realized in the night, in the shivering cold, that this happened not to M.K. Gandhi, but the proud Indian. It was an attack on the Indian civilization. Therefore, he decided on that night that I should dedicate my life to remove the color injustice and the disparity in this foreign land. That time, as many biographers referred as the birth of real Mahatma.
After the Pietermaritzburg incident, Gandhiji chose to peacefully oppose discriminatory policies, organizing strikes and marches to counter biased voting regulations and intolerable working conditions. Out of these beliefs emerged the concept of Satyagraha, which the Mahatma first employed in South Africa to fight against racial prejudices and then in India to fight against British colonialism.
7th June is also the death anniversary of Dundai Khan. He was in the service of the English East India Company Army but left it and took part in the struggle for freedom from the foreign rule during 1857. He also led a group of rebels and attacked the British establishments for seizing their properties and arms. Caught by the company troops in the course of an encounter, he was accused of plundering, desertion and mutiny against the British Empire. He was sentenced to imprisonment for life with hard labour and iron in July 1857. He was transported from Bombay to the Andaman Islands in April 1858. Dundai Khan died while in captivity at Cellular Jail on the 7th of June 1858.
We also remember Martyr Nishan Singh. Nishan Singh was a resident of district Shahabad, Bihar. He was a close associate of Kumar Singh and fought along with him in the battles of Jagdishpur, Jaunpur, Hajipur, Kanpur, Lucknow and Banda during the First War of Independence in 1857. He was arrested in his village and was mercilessly blown into pieces by cannon on 7th of June 1858. We salute the great son of the soil.
brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
The India Meteorological Department, IMD, has issued orange alert for some of the northern parts of the country over the heatwave condition, which is likely to continue till tomorrow. Talking to AIR News, senior scientist in the IMD, R.K. Janamani, has said North Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, Delhi and Bundelkhand region will experience heatwave condition where the temperature will vary between 44 degrees Celsius and 47 degrees Celsius. Mr. Janamani said people have been advised to take all precautions while venturing out, like covering the body with cotton cloth and drinking plenty of water.
There has been heat wave over North Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, Delhi and Bundelkhand area mainly, and also Vidarbha. Temperature are 44 to 47 degrees centigrade. Forecast is that we have issued some of the area orange alert also and yellow alert. This heat wave will continue till 8 June and temperature will remain 45 plus also some of the place. That's why we advise to take all safety steps like you cover your body with cotton cloth, take sufficient water.
On to sports. In badminton, Indonesia Masters 2022 begins in Jakarta today. The tournament starts with the qualifying matches today, followed by first and second round, quarterfinals, semi-final and conclude with the finals on the 12th of this month. At the tournament, all eyes will be on PV Sindhu and Lakshya Sen as the two-seeded Indian shuttlers will look to continue the impressive run. However, World Championship silver medalist Kinambi Srikanth has pulled out of the event due to an injury, while India's top men's doubles pair of Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy will also sit out the Jakarta meet. In wrestling, India ended the campaign at the Bulat Turli Khanov Cup at Almaty in Kazakhstan on the second position with 12 medals. This included a tally of 6 golds, 1 silver and 5 bronze medals in total. Iran topped the medal tally with 14 medals. Out of 6 gold medals, 5 were clinched by women.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. All dailies have prominently covered the address of the Prime Minister at the launch of Jan Samarth portal as he urges bank chiefs to make the loan process easier. The Hindustan Times quotes the PM saying bank rupee should be key in global trade. Seeking to diffuse the controversy on West Asian countries over adverse religious comments, the Tribune writes, narrow-minded comments, MEA hits back at serial critics, Pakistan OIC. The Hindu writes about the multi-crore media rights auction on the 12th of June under the headline, Watch IPL's next big battle royal. The Indian Express reports Corvettes, Sukhoi 30 engines, over 76,000 crore rupee procurement boost to Indian industry. This summer, city saw highest number of heat waves in 11 years, writes the Times of India about the national capital. And finally, India is currently the 5th largest contributor to world market cap following the US, China, Japan and Hong Kong, mentions the Economic Times under the headline India at decade high.
Before we end the bulletin, a reminder of today's question of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz. Which movement is referred to as Ul-Gulan or the Great Tumult in Indian history? I repeat, which movement is referred to as Ul-Gulan or the Great Tumult in Indian history? WhatsApp your response on 882-654-6262. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Indian banks and currency should be made an important part of international trade and supply chain. Inaugurates iconic week celebrations of Ministries of Finance and Corporate Affairs. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to launch single nodal agency dashboard today. President Ramnath Kovind to host 2-day Visitors Conference 2022 in New Delhi from today. India successfully carries out training launch of intermediate-range Agni-4 ballistic missile. 3 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists, including 2 from Pakistan, eliminated in Jammu and Kashmir. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson wins confidence vote initiated by fellow Conservative Party lawmakers over Partygate scandal. IMD issues orange alert for severe heat wave across northern India till tomorrow. In wrestling, India ends their campaign at Bulat Turli Khanov Cup in Kazakhstan on second position with 12 medals. And Indonesia Masters Badminton Tournament begins in Jakarta today. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.